Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to do a presentation about my thesis proposal, but before that, I will introduce myself first. So my name is Annisa, and then the title of my thesis proposal is The Analysis of Translation Techniques Used by English Department Students in Translating Report Text and the Impact on Readability Aspect. Chapter 1, Introduction. The background of the research, why using translation. According to Nerudova 2012, the importance of translation is obviously shown in daily life because translation does not only enable us to transfer one language into another language, but it also helps us to understand the characteristic, system language, and the culture of another language. And then why using report text? Heaven 2004 proposed that tertiary students face informative writing in the form of phenomenon reports. That's what reports are. Writing to inform. He furthermore asserts that there is a difference between writing to inform and the other expository forms, writing to persuade and personal narratives. The formulation of the problem. First, the first is what are techniques of translation that the students used in translating report text. And the second is which one of the translation techniques that has the most impact on the readability aspect. And so to answer that, there is the objectives of the research. The first is to find out the students' translation techniques that were used in translating a report text. And the second is to discover which translation techniques that has the most impact on the readability aspect. Significance of the research. For students, this research is considering the benefit for them to know how to translate report text well by following some techniques that refer to procedures according to some experts, namely Finney, Newmark, etc. Step 2. For teachers. It can make this research as orientation in addition to teach the students more effective in translating report text in the classroom. And then third, for researcher, this research hopes can be made as an additional reference in doing the next research that has a relation in translating report text. Chapter 2, Literature Review. The first we will talk about the translation and a definition. Basic definition of translation is the communication of meaning from one language, the source, to another language, the target. According to Center for Health Literacy 2010, translation is the conversion of written text from one language into another so that the new translated text reflects the content of the original text and corresponding cultural perceptions and customs of the target audience. B. Types of translation. According to Larson in Novianti 2012, translation is classified into two main types, namely form-based and meaning-based translation. Form-based translation attempts to follow the form of source language and is known as literal translation, while meaning-based translation makes every effort to communicate the meaning of the source language text into the natural forms of the receptor language. C. Translation process. There are 4 stages in the translation process. There are first analysis, and the second is transfer, the third is restructuring, and the fourth is evaluation. D. Translation techniques. According to Molina and Albert, 2002, there are 18 translation techniques to transfer source text into target text. They are dictation, amplification, borrowing, call, composition, description, discursive creation, established equivalent, generalization, linguistic amplification, linguistic compression, literal translation, modulation, particularization, reduction, substitution, transposition, and variation. And then now we will talk about the report text. A. Definition. Sunarti 2015 states report text as informational report is a text which is used to classify or describe or to present information about the subject. According to Friedels and Sunarios, report text is a kind of text which describes the way things are with environment. B. Structure of report text. Report text also has own characteristic. It is like in the structure of a report text, according to Sunarti 2015, the structure of the text is A. A general opening statement, B. Series of paragraphs about the subject, and C. Concluding paragraph. It is optional. C. Language features of report text. According to Sunarti 2015, states that the language features of report text are A. The use of technical language related to the subject, B. The use of generalized terms, and C. The use of the timeless present tense. The previous study, so here are some of the previous studies that have been done by the previous researchers, which the topic is related to what I will do in the future research. And then the chapter 3, research method. Research design, the researcher will use descriptive qualitative research as the design. Because the researcher is going to classify and analyze the translation techniques applied by the English department students, then the researcher will describe and interpret the translation techniques that also gives impact on the aspect of readability. Data and source of the data. The data source is English version and the Indonesian translation scripts of a report text titled Komodo Dragon taken from Gramedia blog. The data will include words, phrases, and sentences of English and Indonesian essay of Komodo Dragon. So, and here is the research procedures that the researcher will conduct in 2024. And then we have the data collection. In collecting the data, the researcher will use note-taking technique. First, summary notes gives an overview of the main ideas in a few sentences or a short paragraph. 2. Paraphrased notes. Restate a fact or idea from a source using your own words and sentence structure, particularly in a way that suits your purpose and audience. 3. Direct quotations. Use the exact wording used by the original source and enclose the quoted material in quotation marks. Technique of validating data. The technique of validating data that will be used in this research is content analysis, which is called the codebook or the coding scheme. The codebook includes detailed instructions for human coders, plus clear definitions of the respective concepts or variables to be coded, plus the assigned values. Instruments of the research. The researcher will use flash reading each formula to get the readability data. There are 3 criteria based on flash Kincaid grade level on readability that are adopted in this research. The first would be basic, and the second is average, and the third or the highest level is called skilled. Data analysis, the researcher will use classification and tabulation. As Krippendorf 2004 says that content analysis is analyzed by using classification and tabulation to find out the meaning. Classification is used to group similar data into categories, while tabulation is used to present data in a structured and organized manner. Here are the references that the researcher used in making this presentation. And so that is all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.